Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I am not alone. If this is your first time, you came at the absolute right time. My name is Philomina Moses Lawson. You're welcome. This is a good time to subscribe. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Phoebe. I'm Philomina's friend. I'm an OAP and I'm also a YouTuber and I'm super excited to be here.
Super excited to be doing this with my best
In
girls.
this
Video, we are going to be talking about lessons that we have learned from a particular podcast that I recommend to you. It's called Tea with Tay. So we are lovers of Tea with Tay podcast. Temisan is the owner of Tea with Tay. I've been following him for a while on Instagram, but when he started the podcast, I just said no, that I have to be an ardent follower of this young man. So first of all, I want to say shout out to you, Temisan. You are doing a great job. So what his podcast is about is just basically bringing guests who come and share stuff, just random things about their lives, but it turns out that he picks the right guest almost every time, because every episode has something that you are going to take away from it.
You get it.
And like we are here for that. So in this video, Phoebe and I were going to say some of the lessons that we have learned, and I'm going to start with the one that it has just been ringing in my brain every day, and it's the episode that he had with Bovie. I think he titled it Guts and Success. So in that particular episode, Bovie was sharing about his life, his childhood, growing up, his mom, his relationship with his mom. Now his mom passed, and then he shared some lessons and some things that his mom said to him. And the one that stood out for me was when he talked about a time he went back home after he had become sort of a celebrity, not so big, but he was already a celebrity. And then he went back home, went to the village to have there was a gathering. And then he saw his old friends. They were trying to take a picture. He said just because he wanted to be humble and make them feel free, feel at home, he noticed that in every picture they try to take, he's tall. I think he's like 6 foot or so. He's tall, so he said he will always want to be the one to bend in front of the picture. Even if he's at the back, he'll try to find his way to come somewhere and bend. And his mom called him and said, see, you are going to stand tall. Stand. Is your height. Stand. The frame will fit you. You know
that's deep.
Do you get like the frame will fit you, so you don't have to be bending in your pictures or any of those kind of things. And I'm like, okay, this is something to learn from here.
It is. Just like talking about, you don't have to dim your light so others can shine brightly. There is space for everybody. The frame is large enough, structured enough to fit you. And it was really inspiring because personally, I followed Bovie for the longest time, right from when he was producing Extended Family.
Yes, I remember we used to watch Extended Family back in school.
I'm telling you, that was one of my favorite things to watch. And to see him grow, evolve, to become who he is right now, it's just really, really inspiring. And then also, this podcast just opened our eyes to see where all of those confidence and the guts was coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, if you want more, see, go to the podcast. It's packed, it's full. You are going to learn a lot from that podcast. So the next lesson I learned, this is going to be from Nancy Isime's episode. And see, to be fair, not like I have any beef or any of those things with Nancy Isime, but I was just like, who is this girl? Where did she come from? Like, she's doing trending on Hip TV. Tomorrow, she's on my screen acting one film. Next tomorrow, I'm seeing her on stage hosting The Voice Nigeria. Sis, who are you? Where did you come from? But guess what? When I heard her episode, I listened to her episode on Tea with Tay Pod, and I'm like, no way, you did that. She shared her story of how she actually started as an usher, like going for events. You know those ushers that used to wear black and white
before.
Exactly. So that was how she started. And then after that, she ventured into modeling. From modeling, then she ventured into acting before she even became an OAP. So, but then it was the OAP thing that brought,
everybody knew,
do you get? I'm like, wow, you have been through all that. Like, this is all the things that happens in your life, and we didn't even know. But now let me tell you the lesson. One thing that she said, Temisan asked her a question that, oh, now you're winning awards, in some awards you are nominated and you don't win. How do you feel when you don't win all those awards and everything? First of all, I didn't even know that she was that. She talked so much about discipline. She talked so much about like hard work, putting in the work, which was why she shared her story from usher, model, actor, to presenting. But then she said something that when they nominate her for an award, she understands that she's praying and she expects God to answer her prayers. But even when she doesn't win that award, she's grateful to God for the fact that she was nominated. And then she also recognizes and acknowledges the fact that whoever won that award also has God, and God is answering the person's prayer. Do you get? And I'm like, do you know that I've never thought about it that way
before? Because God, me, answer me, But something that really stood out for me for Nancy Sime, is the fact that many times when we see people out there, we want to give excuses like, oh, this person is from a privileged background, that's why they're at the fore. This person had some cushioning effect. But her story wasn't like that. She was just a regular girl, in quotes, like you put it, that just felt like, okay, let me start something. And then that was when somebody found out, like, oh, you can actually do this thing. And then she started growing through the ranks. So it is really, really possible to grow even if you don't have a privileged background. That was what stood out for me.
Nice. Now let's move on to talk about this one that I was so shocked. Like, Sister Tokemakiwa, preach, sister. Please take the pulpit. This is your Bible.
Amen,
please
sister.
take the microphone and start to
Amen.
preach to us. Like, I was so shocked to see Tokemakiwa in another dimension. You guys, we all know Tokemakiwa's name. Her slogan is "Baby Girl for life." Do you get? Tokemakiwa is not just a baby girl for life. Tokemakiwa is a deep spiritual Christian that knows God for herself, worships and serves God. And I got to know that from Temisan's podcast. First of all, I want to commend Temisan, especially from the beginning stage when he started this podcast. I saw how, first of all, he brought his pastor at some point to, like, they have a particular episode where they talked about Jesus and the love of God, the love of Jesus, how Jesus Christ loves us. But then when Tokemakiwa and Temisan had conversations about like life, how she lost her parents, how she evolved from the church girl that lost her parents that were church people to now having a relationship with God and Jesus. I'm looking at Tokemakiwa, I'm like,
she's like one of the misunderstood people on the face of the earth, or let's say Nigeria.
Facts.
So because to get back to all this, it feels like she's in the news for the wrong reasons. Either they are dragging her, that she said something, she did something. But if you follow her closely, you would know that this is something she talks about. Okay, I love Jesus. I have a relationship with him. And it's really beautiful to see. And it also shows that, the fact that you love Jesus doesn't stop you from impacting the world in the way that you can. So yeah, thumbs up to her.
Like, sis, I've told you, just open church. We'll go come your church, okay? Yes. Another one that stood out for me was the episode with Uti. I think that episode was titled Age and Success. Fam. First of all, the banter that Temisan and Uti had in that episode, they'll be just, they curse each other, they're crazy, they're mad.
And the funny thing is, you don't even know that these people can be like this until you see them in all of their elements free. There's no restriction, nobody's forming, they're just saying it as it is.
Yeah. Do you know that when Uti, this lesson I want to share now, when he said it, I'm like, how in the world did I not already think that or know that? Like, where did this boy get this wisdom from? So, first of all, the guts he had, he said it that when he went to Big Brother Nigeria the first time and he didn't win, when he came out, he said, if I am ever given an opportunity to go back to this show, I'm going to win it because I know the dynamics, I know how this thing works. And guess what? Uti went back for Big Brother Africa, and then he won it. Now, this is not even the lesson. He said something. He said, in modern day, like this our generation, that we are so much in a hurry to make it, was the longing for success. And he also related it to the fact that a lot of things points us to the fact that you just need to be successful right now. He was even mentioning that even in churches, most of the prayers and everything is, oh, you're going to be prosperous today. And even though the pastors, they don't mean any harm, it's just scripture, they're just sharing the word. Somehow, when you hear that kind of declaration as a Christian that went to church, you are expecting some sort of like manifestation or something, and when you don't see it, even in your Christian faith, everything. So he's just saying that in life, things don't worry, you are going to make it.
Things will happen.
You are going to make it. There's no need for hurry or rush, or you will make it. I'm like, that's true. Like sometimes we need to give process time and just grow into some things the way we are. Let's talk about the rituals and all those things happening.
It's just we're in a very somehow world right now, let me put it that way. I remember I was having a conversation with someone, and the person was like, how are you 15 and you are thinking about getting a Benz? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be in secondary school or you're 100 level in the university. Do you get? But I feel like in as much as we're in a crazed world and everybody's just particular about making it, and if you check the reason why they want to make it is to show off and show people, but
Facts.
then when you stay true to the process, you believe that at the end of the day things are going to make sense. That lasts, in my opinion. It lasts. So process works, is still in vogue, so go through the process, enjoy it.
Yes, I cannot end this particular video without talking about the group CEO of Transcorp. Mrs. Owen is a lot. I was so inspired by her episode, and she's a group CEO of Transcorp. Do you know what Transcorp? Do you know Transcorp? Like,
Phil,
do you know what we're talking about?
When I was on watching that episode, I need to reanalyze my life.
Like, I just
that woman is deep.
She's deep.
She's
I love her personality, how she was
so
able
free
to balance family, work, career, and I was just blown away with the fact that she grew up in Benin, born, buttered, breaded, everything.
Yeah, pigeon.
Do you get? No, that woman is inspiring, and her episode, I will say what I learned from that episode is that she talked about giving up at some point, and she had support system. She talked about her husband. She understood that, okay, I want to get a lot from life, but she didn't know that she was going to be group CEO of Transcorp. She got married at age 23. So it's not one of those things that you say, I want to stand first, put my two legs on the ground before I marry. Like, there are some people that marriage don't hinder anything.
True.
You that you are not married,
what are you doing?
Yeah, CEO of skincare. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to drag anybody. But if you get what I mean, she was married at 23, and then she had a baby. But then she went to do her master's with a 3-year-old baby.
Yeah.
Came out, and we can see the result. This is where she is. We're talking about her, like farm.
For Mrs. Owen, something that really, really stood out for me. She mentioned something when she was sharing her story. Because Temi-san asked, did you ever dream or see yourself? She was like, see myself, Kev. Yeah. It was like, she had no idea that she didn't have that dream. When people say, what's your goal? What's your dream? She didn't have the dream of becoming group CEO at a very young age.
Yeah.
She said, but something that really helped her was that she told herself she was going to be the best in anything she was doing. And so when she was getting into this position, it wasn't surprising because this is her field, and then she's been the best.
So she talked about challenges, the male, female, anything you want to do in this life, you're going to encounter challenges. But you know what? That challenge will pass. As far as you persevere, keep at it, keep doing it, it will pass. And don't give up.
Don't give up.
Thank you so much for watching. I would like to know if you're a fan of Temi-san's podcast, that's Tea with Tay. I would like to know, in fact, he was the #1 podcast in Nigeria, if you get what I mean, and I'm super excited to see him grow, see his journey on this podcast journey. Like, I was there when this thing started, and we are still here, it's still going, and I just had to make this video because this particular human being is inspiring. I'm not going to lie, and his podcast has been a blessing to me. From my Christian faith, how he shares his faith with his guests. I remember when he was talking to Timini about Jesus, plenty things, and all the inspiring stories that we have heard over time.
So I'll just like to say something. You know, one thing Timmy Sam's podcast has done for me is that it makes me give people a chance. You know, when you see people out there, you know, doing great stuff, it's just easy for you to conclude and judge and assume that they did this, they did that. But until you hear their story, you don't have any right to do that, to judge them.
Yeah.
You know, so actually Chloe, I wasn't a fan at all. But then hearing her story on that podcast, it just really changed my mindset about it. I'm like, oh my God, she has been through so much.
Yeah.
You know, who am I? What have I even gone through to conclude about that person? So yeah, that's something that TUT has done for me, and I'm grateful.
If we start to talk, we no go come out from here. If I start to talk, we no go. But yes, you should check that podcast out if you haven't already. And we're going to end here.
Yes,
thank you so
really
much for
need
your
to go.
time. Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Subscribe,
Comment below,
please.
subscribe. Yeah.
Like.
Let me know if you're a fan of Temisan as well. Like, I'm super grateful to have done this with my girl, Phoebe. Thank you so much for coming.
Send my bill. I'll send you my invoice so that you transfer my money.
And until next time, I'm going to see you on my
next one. Bye-bye.
Peace out.